Christ Church has a long history in the city of Reading, and it's an institution here in the city of Reading. It's part of the skyline of the city of Reading.
Christ Church is a community of exuberant people who care about themselves, the community, and following Christ.
And I think people who live in this city see it as a safe haven, a place for support.
We have many denominations and churches, physical buildings in the city that have changed. Either the congregation has moved to the suburbs, or they have sold their church building and the congregation itself dissolved.
There are two myths that we've had to try to get people over, and that is especially for people coming downtown to be with us on a Sunday morning. And that is, well, I'm not going to come down there because there's nowhere to park and it's not safe.
A challenge, again, is to attract new and younger families.
The changing demographics of the city, the changing economics, I think, have been major challenges for this community.
And a lot of these historic churches tend to come up against that and eventually may close their doors or sell the building and move to another location.
The age of the building is very challenging for us. We want to be respectful of the historical quality of the building, but we also want to put in the up-to-date amenities that we're used to.
One of our big challenges moving forward will be the restoration and maintenance of this building.
We had a interim rector who challenged our vestry to say, if this building burned down tonight, would anyone care? So that's important for us to answer that question in our own hearts and minds. What role do we play in this community? What role do we want to play in this community?
They are shrinking and aging, and they needed help in reaching out beyond their walls to think about what else could be done. I help congregations identify the vital roles that they play in their neighborhoods and in our society at large. And I help them live into those roles through the use of their buildings and through partnerships with the communities around them.
In 2021, we were able to give Christ Church a grant to go through their asset mapping work, which they contracted out to Partners for Sacred Places.
An unbelievably successful day of people coming in from the community, from the stakeholder groups in the community, and sitting with us and talking about how can this church better serve its community.
The stories are still told about the 70 community leaders who came to do that project with Christ Church, and they didn't leave. They stayed and they stayed and they stayed for hours.
In 2022, we made a grant so that they could continue that work and move more into the strategic visioning work. Both of those together have really led Christ Church to be able to figure out what are their strengths and their resources in the community, and then build a roadmap so that they can continue to expand those partnerships, but also figure out how can they use this space to the fullest capacity.
They have a historic building. They stayed downtown and have chosen to stay downtown when congregations have left the city.
There's sort of a mission here to remain in the city and to remain vital in the city.
The church extended a lifeline to us when we needed it most. Our location where we were doing our work at the Hispanic Center, we had been asked by the owners of the building to vacate. And I came towards the church and leadership at the church to ask if they'd be willing to house our senior programming until we were able to move into our new facility. And the church welcomed us with open arms.
And when we went through that whole asset mapping process, we recognized, hey, access to primary care providers is needed, and we have the ability to park a bus in front of us. So let's reach out to Berks Community Health Center and let's give them access to parking here. And that's why they're here today. We recognize that we are downtown Reading and we're by a bus stop. So we reached out to a literacy council and says, what can we do to help?
Our location within the city of Reading needed to be changed, and Christ Episcopal was a natural selection for the Literacy Council because it's easily accessible to the individuals we serve here in the city of Reading. And the environment at Christ Episcopal is such that the folks who are coming here who are not members feel welcomed when they come here for services. We offer our citizenship preparation program here at Christ Episcopal, and that allows us to continue our mission of being able to help adults contribute, communicate, and collaborate in their workplaces and their communities.
We've got approximately 9 or 10 Narcotic Anonymous groups that meet here. We are pretty much the center of NA for Reading.
They invite the Berks Youth Chorus here so that the kids can practice on the weekends.
We began rehearsing here in September of 2022. A lot of children actually who live in the city of Reading, transportation is very much a challenge for them. So being able to have one of our choirs rehearse actually in the city, it's easier for parents to get them to and from rehearsals, has really been a great asset and something that's very important to us as an organization.
I have been deeply involved in the arts here at Christ Church, and as a member of their Fall Festival of the Arts, we have presented plays specifically for our Hispanic community, and just this past weekend, we presented a flamenco dance program, so I think we've reached some people beyond our church walls here.
Christ Church has been a wonderful rehearsal venue for us. It has a number of different rooms that we can break out into for sectionals. We've also used Christ Church and continue to plan to use Christ Church for our concerts. And they had also just been so welcoming to us.
One thing that I always look forward to on an annual basis is the Kristallnacht commemoration. Considering this is an event that is very important to the Jewish people, that it's being held in an Episcopal church says so much about this church and its relationship to everybody in the community.
This is a commemoration that was started by the churches, and it's done jointly between Christ and I believe Trinity Lutheran as well. And so that has always been a big event for the Jewish community to participate with Christ Church and to call the history of the Holocaust in a time where people are starting to question whether it was real is a hugely important thing.
All of those groups are for people in our community who are not currently worshipers here. We have become committed over the years, and especially in the last year. What can we do? How can we open our doors to local groups who need space?
And so they have really become a hub in downtown Reading in just a couple of years that they had not been before.
No matter what our faith background is, we are spiritual people, and that spirituality needs to be fed. And it's just wonderful that Christ Episcopal is reaching out and feeding the spirituality of the community in so many varied ways.
They've decided we're going to invest in this community because we see that this community needs a place like Christ Church to be able to provide the services needed, to partner with other community organizations.
And so one of the big things we've learned in all of these conversations that we've had with community leaders in the area of what can we do is that we have to listen to what's already being done, listen to the need of our community around us, and adapt to that.
We're coming together as faith community, as neighborhoods, to say, we're going to make a difference. We're going to do something and make a difference.
For an historic congregation in an historic building to be making an effort to continue their mission in this central location it's something very meaningful to see.
We are transitioning from being a church in the city to being a church with the city.
And the very fact that they have, done some strategic planning to help understand what their role is now and what it can be in the future in terms of the city itself and the overall Berks County community, I think says a lot about it.
So they're really opening their doors and just seeing where the partnerships take them. I don't think they're setting any limits for themselves.